Bonjour. It is Monday, August 30th, I think, 30th. But I am out here at the Louvre, of course, my favorite place. And I am going to go inside and share with you some of the birthday boy today. Jacques Louis David was born. And so I'm going to go inside and share a bunch of things about Jacques Louis David. I started out here at the very end of the Louvre. We're on the most eastern edge of the Louvre. Behind me is Saint-Germain-l'Auxerrois. And this corner up here is the very end of the Sully wing. And I started here because at that end right there in the corner where there's this beautiful colonnade inside and outside is where Jacques Louis David actually had his little studio. And he was there painting inside the Louvre until Napoleon decided to kick all the artists out. So he had let quite a few artists paint there. They had been doing it for quite some time. After Louis XIV left to go to Versailles and left the government, he to bring with him a bunch of the different alliances set up here, the painting, quite a few of the different artists. And so the artists all moved in as well. So it was up here in this little corner. This is, of course, the whole colonnade, which I will share with you about all of that later because it's one of my favorites and it deserves its own. It's all my favorite. Who am I kidding? So come with me and I will show you. So on today's date in 1748, August 30th, this guy was born, Jacques Louis David, a painter, of course, who had worked through the revolution, supported the revolution, was good friends with Robespierre. After Robespierre fell out of power, was guillotined himself, he was tossed into jail twice. And he painted his portrait while he was there. He painted himself much younger and without a face tumor that he had. But I'll show you more about that later. But since it's his birthday and I'm here, I decided to come to the Louvre, share a little bit about him. And it is actually incredibly quiet for the most part in the room that I am in. It is one of the red rooms, they call it. I'm in the Denon wing. It is the red that the color is called Pompeii red. It's color of red paint they actually found at Pompeii. It's always been this color since it was first painted. But this amazing piece is Juliette Recamier, and we did a podcast episode about her. And it's unfinished. You wouldn't think by looking at it, but he had painted her and she was annoyed with him that it was taking so long. So he didn't finish it and he painted her in this empire waist and showing her feet and her hair a little bit more brown than it actually was. And it actually was incredibly controversial at the time. Like, you did not show the bottom of your feet. She's bucking everything by wearing that dress. Of course, there's this guy, Pope Pius VII, which we'll see again in a few minutes. This is such a awesome, he was neoclassical in style. He kind of moved away from the Rococo movement that had been going on. But this whole room is kind of dedicated to David and the school of David. You also have the Oath of Marat, which basically is a very political statement, joining his three sons together with him in the state, reaching up to the sword. The women behind him are smaller and kind of cowering. They're turning their back on them. Then you have this beauty. I love that the guy working is actually coming over to take a picture. This one over here is not David, but since I'm here, this is by Elisabeth Evige Lebrun. That's with her daughter. And we also did a podcast about her. Okay, wait. You want to see something really amazing? Da, 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 there she is. Oh, I love her so much. Okay. back to the task at hand. This is honestly, I have been inside the Louvre thousands of times. I'm pretty sure. This is the first time I've actually seen it displayed. This is actually a copy he did. It's the Death of Marat. He was actually friends with him. And this is what they kind of say was like the painting that kind of started a revolution in painting. But this room also around the top of it, it has names of many of the artists. You could see Paul Prudhomme, Gros. It's really gorgeous. This is the Women of Sabine. And then we of course have, I never understood why people want their picture taken in front of a painting. I'd rather just see the painting, but that's fine. Of course, we have the Coronation of Napoleon, the date that happened in December of 1802. Jacques Louis David, of course, was here in the stands sketching. He started painting this, is finished in 1804. Bonaparte did not sit for it, but Josephine and others did. See that guy right there? There's the Pope. And Napoleon brought him all the way here. This is a show of power. And then he basically first had him painted just sitting there because Napoleon wouldn't let him actually crown him. Napoleon wanted to crown himself. But the moment depicted here is him crowning Josephine. And so when he saw the sketch, he said he needs to be doing something, so that's why you see the Pope with his arm raised. His mother, of course, was not there. She's the one kind of center front in the balcony, first floor of the balcony. She did not like Josephine. She did not agree with a lot of the things that he was doing, so she did not go. Jacques Louis painted her in. He's also up there painted himself in there in the balcony. But Josephine looks stunning. Everything about this painting I just am obsessed with. You have the sisters. Some of the sisters were quite upset. We did a whole a podcast episode that included information about this painting. They were not happy because some of their sister-in-laws were given higher titles than they were. And so he finally gave them higher titles and said, "You will carry her train or I will exile you." And so they agreed, but as she stood up and headed up those steps, they yanked at her train and she almost fell over backwards. But it's pretty stunning. You also have, what's really cool, is you also have like a little legend that tells you who a few of the people are. Of course, there's far more people in here, but it is a favorite. I love, love, love. But you don't usually see it like this in here. Usually, especially over here. Oh look, I'll just take a little seat. They usually, this is perfect. I love to come in here, just sit here and look at it. But usually you have to get here as soon as the doors open and come beeline straight up here. But that is Jacques Louis David, and there's some more of him in the Louvre. So I'm gonna bring you that too. I'll see you in a few minutes. Oh, but here, wait. I also love these. You also have Cupid and Fichet. I love this one. This one used to be in the ceiling of the Charles X museum that's here in the Louvre. They took it down, put it in here. The one that's now in the room is on the ceiling is a copy. And of course, André's Odalisque. Okay, I'm gonna go. Next thing I'm gonna bring to you is the only painting Napoleon sat for ever, and he did it for Jacques Louis David. Okay, another little section you might completely pass by, but don't. This is on the way to the Grand Gallery. This is a collection of Carlos de Bascagli. He was a collector. He donated this in 1942. It was all put on display in 1953 with the stipulation that it had to all be shown together. And There's some amazing pieces in this and some really fun pieces of historical value. So this used to be closer to Wing Victory. Now it's over here. That is the collector himself right there. You can see the two paintings in the background. You see that? And they are over here. I love that. I love it when a painting has a painting. And you also have some of these. This is by Ernest Messonnier, who was actually at the time one of the most popular painters in France. Huge, huge, huge. Few people even know who he is today. But okay, here's my two favorite things. So this one, this lovely looking lady, is in fact Eugène Delacroix's sister. With her, she looks a lot like a Recamier, but you could see it was done by a birthday boy, Jacques Louis David, in very Second Empire. Have all these. There's people in front of us, so you could kind of start to see it on the right. So this painting that Jacques Louis David did of Napoleon is the only painting he ever sat for. And as you can see, it's unfinished. So he was painting it at the time. He was a general, because you can see how young he is. And the thought is that Napoleon actually stopped the completion of it because at the time, the wars that he was involved in as a general, they didn't think it would look very good if he went and had this painting completed. You can see the lines, you can see where it was supposed to become. But I love it, it's absolutely stunning. And most people just walk right by. And they don't even come in here. They just keep on going. But this little area has been redone. It looks out towards the Arc de Triomphe Carousel. But then they've just, this wasn't open last time. And I could go in here to the side. And more of this Pompeii red. So now I will spend probably the next 2 or 3 hours going through these two rooms. Oh wait, they moved it here. So last week I brought you a video from my favorite little area that has the frames in it. This painting used to be there because look at the frame. It's got dragons and snakes and more dragons, and up at the top. And it fits so perfectly with the theme of the painting and this gentleman's head. All right, I've got work to do. So I still have another thing of Jacques Louis David I'm gonna go find. Well, I know where it is. It's all the way over in the Richelieu wing. So I'll bring that to you next. Okay, here's our last stop for our birthday boy, Jacques Louis David. This was done by Francois Rude, and it depicts the actual face of Jacques Louis David with the tumor cyst that he had on his face his whole life. It impeded his speech when he was a child. And usually when he painted himself, he took it out, but you could see it here. So I'm all the way over in the Richelieu wing, and it is just off of one of my, I know, I say it a lot, favorite areas. We've got Napoleon up here. I'll come back and do some videos in these two. This is the Corps Puget. Of course, you have Napoleon up here. love to come sit in here. I actually almost brought my laptop today, but just to sit here and use it as my office. Okay, isn't the light gorgeous? It used to just be a parking lot when it was the minister's office. And then when I Am Pei was doing the pyramid, and underneath the pyramid, they decided to cover this. Down here you have Madame de Pompadour and Louis XV depicted. That's the one kind of in the middle is her depicted as friendship. But you have her and Louis XV over here. Then you have his wife over here that gets to look on. Again, another funny, the Louvre trying to be funny. So that's our Jacques Louis David. There is more of him in the Louvre, which I will bring in the coming days and share with you. And also today is a new podcast episode all about Versailles. So the history of Versailles and tips and tricks for when you go. So check it out.